Hello, welcome back to SML Podcast, Playing the Field, Field Journal 007. Today I'm with Primetime 000. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to catch up on. It's the postseason production here. We've got an entire season to discuss, basically just the playoffs. There's all that really matters, and then a lot going on in the world of Madden right now. A lot of people upset. We're going to go ahead and get right to it. Let's talk about the 15-time SML champion. What happened to your season? You had a pretty good year, and then it came to an abrupt halt.
Yeah, it was a pretty strong season. I think I went 13-3. I lost to Grams at the end. I pulled my starter, so that put me at 13-3. Playoffs, I played okay against Woods, and then I played pretty poorly against QB, who was kind of in a hot streak, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I lost. I mean, it happens. That's just kind of what happened. Nothing too crazy about it.
Last couple games of the season, week 13, you blew out the Bengals 42-3, the Chiefs 42-21, the Titans 49-28. Close game against Dump 21-20. And like you said, you pulled your starter 17-14, lost to the Cowboys 26-14 over the Browns, and then a 38-14 over QB Stud. And QB's kind of had your number, it seems like, the last overall in your rivalry, if you want to call it a rivalry yet. 38-14 playoff loss. Rivers 15 carries, a $177. He's pretty, in my opinion, pretty well balanced player. He likes to run the ball. He likes to get that going, and his defense really, really tough to stop. And then obviously he likes to hit the post patterns to his receivers and just the jump balls. Even though I think he may deny that, I feel like he hits a pretty high percentage of jump balls. In this game, it's not showing me passing stats for either team, so I can't go off that. But what happened
Yeah,
in the game? Was it just the running game that you couldn't stop, and then your game plan fell apart, or what happened?
yeah, just the wheels kind of fell off the bus. Like early in the game, it was close. Really, until the start of the third quarter, it was like a 1 point game.
Yeah.
Um, and then I punted it or I threw a pick, and then
Mm-hmm.
he just started getting these huge runs with Rivers, just up the like untouched, not even like 6 yard runs down the field. I mean, they were just like 60 yard runs, 40 yard runs where it was just untouched. Good blocking, bad defensive calls, probably a mixture of it all. And then I got down 2 scores, and that just falls into his game plan. He's got three superstar defensive linemen, superstar safety, a superstar cornerback. So that's not a recipe for success to pass against. And you got to go down the field, and that's when bad things happen. So yeah, and I probably didn't mix up my game plan like I should have, knowing that he watches a lot of tape, and out of all the people to not mix your game plan up against is probably the the
Bad
last guy you want to
decision
do that.
against a
Yeah,
well-educated player.
yeah. Probably should have waited a day, mixed up my plan, but I'm like, yeah, I'll play the game, and either way, I was probably gonna lose. But he was ready to play, and he deserved to win.
Kind of a quiet 19-0 season. It's a guy that doesn't really pound his chest a lot, so you don't really hear kind of the same sentiments that you do from a guy like when Gov was here or Jonesy when they were kind of running their empire. And then, of course, when the 16 or 15-time SML champ is doing well, you hear about it. This guy, I
Yeah,
mean, he's consistently been good since he's been in the SML, and to have 19-0 is very tough to do. I don't know. I guess I just feel like it doesn't really get talked about too much in the
yeah,
other
he doesn't.
shows, and
He
I think he's better than what a lot of people give him credit for.
Yeah, he's better than a lot of. I think the thing is for example, people talk about Sunday more than they talk about
Right.
QB, and QB is better than Sunday, way
Mm-hmm.
better than Sun. I would rate Sunday, and like I'm not trying to turn this into a Sunday bash thing, but just throughout every Madden, a 7.5. I mean, he's not a bad
He's
player,
benefiting from
but
the pass rush.
yeah, and he's still a playoff contender, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't think he's a 16-0 type of guy every Madden or even earlier this cycle if he had to build his team from scratch. QB, his game is similar, and I've said this before. His game is similar to just anybody who's consistently going to win. He's balanced. He doesn't do that I know of anything cheesy
I
to
don't think
where.
so.
So like when we talk about some like previous owners, a lot of the hype came from just the cheesiness. So it was like that's kind of where it came from. Him, it's not so much. So you feel like you can beat him, and he just silently wins. He doesn't type his cockiness in chat or anything like that. So
No,
I think it keeps him low key.
no. I guess we
So
got to talk about NYT. I mean, he had a really great season. He took the Cinderella route Wild card win, 38-20 over Sunday squad. 2017 against one of your favorite all-time SML players, Lawyer Killer. 20 to
Yep.
6 win over Dan He, the Eagles, the new Eagles owner,
Yeah.
and then obviously the loss in the Super Bowl. So congratulations to NYT, a guy that's been up and down in his entire SML career, and right now he's on the uptick. Hopefully this doesn't really set him back too much. He's able to make another playoff run at 37-10. What happened in that Super Bowl? I didn't watch any of it. I mean, was it just a turnover fest? I see that he had no running game whatsoever, and Michael Rivers went unhitched again. So just kind of, what did you see in that game?
Yeah. QB once again. I mean, you probably, I don't even know if you watched tape. You probably knew going into the game what NYT wants, and that's to get big runs with his running back.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't happen early. And then NYT, I think, got caught passing the ball. It's just kind of the same story of my game. Early, he tried running it, got caught passing it, and then he started just throwing picks, and he couldn't string together drives.
Right.
And it was somewhat close, but QB pulled away. I mean, I think QB's just another class of player than NYT, and that's not a shot against NYT. He's just a very,
QB's just
very
better,
good
and
player.
his defense is not always that talked about. He's a very
His
good
defense,
user.
yes,
His pass rush is there, obviously, because of this Madden. But, I mean, he's just, I
his
think,
defense has been like I would rather face Oshi's defense than his, and I know Oshi's not in the league because Oshi's defense was his user, and I would eat like I won like 4 Super Bowls against Oshi, three Super
right.
Bowls against Oshi because I would just literally pound him inside because he would take his middle linebacker and he'd do this loopy thing and run backwards,
Mm-hmm.
and I just literally never lost to him. And then QB, it's more of a schematic thing. His user's good, but it's not god tier. I mean, and it's just a schematic thing. He watches tape, or if he plays you once or twice, then
He
he's
knows your
then he
tendencies. I don't think
then
so
you
much that
know
he watches tape. I think he just understands tendencies. He's kind
yeah,
of like you, where he's going to do what he's going to do. Because I don't, from the times I played him, he doesn't really seem like he adjusts his play style that much. It's just a matter of when he's going to call his plays. It's not like he comes out with a new Bill Belichick game plan for every
right,
opponent. So I don't
right.
really know that he watches tape so much as what people think he does. Also, I think a
Well,
lot of
he
that just comes because he commentates quite a bit.
yeah, he commentates games, so he sees that, and he also he doesn't watch guys. Well, from what he says, he doesn't watch guys, but he watches his own tape. So, and I'm guessing he watches his own tape against marquee guys, and then he notices
Well,
it
that
from
and
that.
they do that stat show him and your boyfriend meets, so I think that he's able
Yes,
to see once again kind of player tendencies based on stats
yeah,
because he's pretty analytical about stuff. So I think that kind of helps him in that respect. But I think we've gone on long enough. Coach
yes,
Paulie's going to get pretty butthurt about this, so we got to move on.
yes.
Um, who are your 3 teams to watch out for next season? Now that we're moving on,
Yeah, I
the
mean,
final
I'm gonna
season,
take, I'm gonna
hopefully.
take, obviously, yeah, yeah, it'll definitely be the final season. I'll take myself out of the equation.
Hmm.
I'll take, obviously, QB just won the Super Bowl, so I'll take him out of the equation. Um, so we'll talk about the Eagles. We'll see how they bounce back,
Yeah,
man. There's a lot of hype around Dan, and he seemed to play well. I'd like to see what that NFC East is all about. If Sunday's just gonna run through it now, if he's got a mean streak in him. Um, also I like to see what Grams is going to do. Grams is just kind of fall off the face of the earth. I know it's in a tough division, but I'd like to see Grams. I mean, if you're a great player, you just come out on top no matter who you're facing. So, I would like to see Grams come out on top. And then the AFC, and it's your boy Dump. He missed the playoffs. He's kind of been quiet now. Not the same Dump we've seen with the
no.
Seth Stocker from a season or two ago, posting highlights and stuff.
Dump's kind of like
So
meats. Like when he loses, they just kind of disappear out of chat for a while.
yeah, so Dump's been quiet. So I want to see if he's playing in something or if he's just kind of shut it down for the cycle.
It's hard to say. There's only one season left, thank God. I thought we were done after this one. A couple stats I'm going to throw out there to you. And one guy I think you got to watch for because now this guy was totally irrelevant, basically since being in the SML, and that's Raider. Tymon Greer, 2,641 yards rushing and 24 touchdowns this past season. Raider
That's
was, I believe he's 8-8.
yeah,
8 and 8,
nine and
and
seven,
then in
eight
the
and eight,
AFC West, he was 3 games out of it. It's not too bad. I mean, compared to where he's 0 games or 1 or 2 wins, and now he's got this joystick running back and is able to win games. So I think that's a guy to watch for, be Raider. Also,
yeah.
2,197 receiving yards, 22 touchdowns. Who do you think those stats belong to?
Uh,
receiver.
2,000 yards. Wow. I'm guess. Oh, who's a big passer? Dan. Somebody, maybe one of Dan's receivers. I don't know who.
No, it would be Clinton McLean from the 49ers.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Spooky.
a lot of stats out there you just don't even really think about. And then one guy, and I said this I think before, the Bengals could be good if the Bengals could stay out of their own way. I think like his biggest problem is just that he forces passes. Like it's one thing, I know when you have a shitty quarterback, it's kind of hard not to, but he's still on a pretty decent team. He's got 49 interceptions with Paul Sherman,
Jeez.
so
Well,
that's
that's
not going to get it
kind of like
done.
Tiny Titan as well. Tiny Titan
Yeah,
usually he plays it kind of close, but then he'll just kind of unravel and throw like 5 interceptions in
he,
the fourth quarter.
he's a tendency guy. He really,
Yeah.
and a lot of guys are falling in victim to that. Like I think one of the toughest players last Madden last cycle was Haas.
Yeah.
Haas was a completely different player last year
Hmm.
because he actually played his entire offense instead of just basically
Yeah.
the glitch wheel route to Tyreek Hill and
What
trying to
corners?
drop bombs with Patty
Yeah.
Mahomes.
Yeah, the Chiefs were really the worst pick for him because he fell into the loop and then he could never quite get out and the defense wasn't good. So yeah, he actually fell victim to the Madden 2020 ability cheese.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at with the Titans. Like a lot of these guys kind of fall victim to force feed, like Raider, and he's doing really well with that running back. Almost 3,000 yards rushing with the running back. Outside of the run game, he doesn't have shit. Like he doesn't even really try to pass because he's not a good passer. And now that through various updates, the defensive coverage is a little, I'm not even gonna say too good. It's just too glitchy, where your receiver's in front of the guy in a post pattern, and then that DB will warp around your guy and make the play. So I guess he just says, "Fuck it, either I'm gonna win running or I'm not." So
Yeah, that strategy's good to win 8 games. It's just like Meats and where he same deal, 2,000 plus yards rushing, but Jackson's in literally the bottom three in like terms of yards,
yeah,
and then his touchdown interception ratio I think is pretty mediocre. And then he plays somebody like Royce who kind of key and he gets to the playoffs, and what happens? He plays somebody who's like, okay, I know what Meach is gonna do. He's gonna
sure.
run with what's his name, Golden, or I'm gonna contain it the best I can, make him throw it, and then he loses,
He had the
and
number one
that's the
points per
problem.
game offense with 32 points, fifth in total yards, 335. He was 26th in passing yards with 149, but number one with rushing yards per game at 185. Lamar Jackson was a buck 39 for 215, 64%, 2,561 yards, 25 touchdowns, 32 sacks, 17 interceptions this past season. Freddie Golden had 1,916 yards, and Lamar Jackson had 729 yards rushing. Combined touchdowns between the two was 23 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean it's just stats like that where it's like, okay, you know exactly what his bread and butter is,
Well,
and then you
that, and
hope.
then don't forget, I'm sorry to cut you, but Marquise Brown, 42 catches, 1,274 yards, and 16 touchdowns. Outside of that, his number two receiver was Boykin, 442 yards and three touchdowns.
Meats is very reliant on the abilities, and
Yeah,
it
it
gets him to the
shows.
playoffs. It shows it gets him to the playoffs. He has success with it, a lot more success than a lot of people. But
Yeah.
once again, when you play elite players, they're going to key in on that, and that it's just plain and simple. I don't think he'll ever reach where he wants to go unless if he becomes a better passer.
And nobody's going to do that. And I saw a poll earlier. I was going to ask you to bring me to that next point. Where are we at with turning abilities off for this final season? Is that a yay or nay?
It's a maybe. I'm thinking about it.
I
I
think we
mean,
should. I'm
it's
for it.
interesting. I'm kind of for it, but then I feel bad for the people who've like built their teams now and traded
We
and
weren't
done
even
all
playing
this
this
stuff.
last season anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
So
we're
I don't
gonna.
think people would mind. I think it was 9-5. I didn't even know that poll was up. I would have voted yes for that.
Who? Oh, Sunday made the poll, didn't he?
Yeah, and it was only for a couple hours, I think.
Yeah.
So and that just shows you out of 14 guys, nine yes, five no's. I think a lot of people want to see what this game is without it because I played it without having guys. For one, your mobile quarterbacks are way different. They don't have that escape artist ability. They're not able to take off right away. It takes you back to last Madden,
Right.
and that's people said that all along that this game is Madden 19 except a few bells and whistles added to it.
Right. I did. When Madden 20 dropped, I played the beta, and I said,
Hmm.
and there are a few. Obviously, if you take out the abilities, I'm assuming the superstar pass rushers would the pass rush you'd feel the difference in.
Oh, it would drop
Obviously,
down. I think there still
The,
would be a pass rush because they made the timing. You don't have the same amount of time as you would last year, where you're able to sit back in the pocket and keep moving backwards to the left and then hitting that cross pattern like guys did for years. So they wanted to make that more realistic, and then adding the X factor pass rushers like 40 sacks. Like this shit should have been turned off a long time ago, just because how this is a sim league, yet the stats are nowhere close to being sim.
well, that's the age old question. Is people always say, if you want the sim stats, and like for example, NBL, they have the very popular league. They have the rule of keep in your own zone,
Right.
because linebackers don't go into the safety
Right.
range, and then in the SML, linebackers go in the safety range. So in the SML, linebackers might have 25 picks, which isn't
Mm-hmm.
realistic. But in the NBL, quarterbacks have like 6,000 passing yards because nobody's, so
Right.
it's just tough to replicate it in certain ways. It comes down to EA fixing their game to where linebackers just can't get to certain spots.
You'll never be able to totally fix the game because I've said this before. The field is too small. You're able to cover too much ground. Like it shouldn't matter. Like even if you don't stay in your own zone, you shouldn't be able to move laterally across the field so quickly that you're able to. Like Oshie would take away 3 fucking reads.
Right.
Because it didn't take anything to move 15 yards. He just had to sidestep 2 clicks, and he took away that route too. So I think they're never totally 100% fix it, but there are things that they can change, such as, and I started watching Ryan Moody like 6 months ago. He's like one of the most pessimistic Madden YouTubers out there,
Yeah, I've
but
known about him for a while. Yeah.
just kind of relate. There's a video that he had where it breaks down the coverage issues, and it was like in practice mode. And it just showed like how stupid the safeties are. Where this guy's assignment in the cover two, like he should have covered this play, but they just don't react. And then like they try to fix reaction times like post production, and it fucked up stuff. So I don't know. Like there's not a perfect answer for that, and I get that. And I guess that's why some leagues bump up sliders and adjust things to it. I just don't agree with having 3,000 rushing yards and 40 sacks and stuff that's never happened. When you have the like a linebacker with 25 picks, that's kind of an anomaly because not every guy in the league is that good. That just kind of shows you a skill gap. Now you got 3 rushers with 2,000 plus yards nearly every season, and that just it doesn't happen. But that's my two
Yeah.
cents on it.
Yeah, we definitely. I mean, it would be interesting to see with the abilities off how good certain guys are, and just how broken, the run blocking is. Because I still
Yeah.
believe that like that guy in that stupid Madden tournament we talked about already, so we might
Mm-hmm.
as well not hit it. But ran every play, won a
With a
bunch of
punter.
money because of it, and had a punter. So it's like, turn off abilities is just run blocking broken because defenders don't automatically engage to the run. I mean,
Yeah, I
I
mean
don't
the
know.
run blocking is broken. That's why. But if you don't have an X factor running back, you can't really run.
Yeah, yeah, you're probably limited to 1,500 yards instead of 2,300. What's Raider at 3,000 or something crazy?
Almost 3,000 was 26. What the hell was he at?
Yeah,
2641. And then
yeah.
Todd Gurley
So
2017, Freddie Golden 1916. Each guy
yeah,
18, 21, 24 tutties.
I mean, there's so many things they could do, revamping how defenders react, changing the injury system to when they feed
Mm-hmm.
these guys, part of their bodies just break down. And franchise mode's so thin, and that's it.
And
They could add so many people.
you talked about, and before I close the door on it, you talked about the user picks. That's really not an issue, especially with Oshie being gone. What do you think, and hopefully you're not looking, but what do you think was the highest interception leader this past season?
Uh, if I had to guess, 15.
Yeah, 14, which I think is an NFL record or close to it. It was Deion Jones from the Falcons. You used to
Yeah,
have 20 interceptions a season. A lot of that is killed because you just can't super jump every play anymore.
right. They
So that helped.
nerfed the super jumping's dead, but they've also nerfed the guys' reactions as well. So
Yeah,
they took away super jumping by making guys just not react at all, and you see
right.
that on certain
Oh,
plays
yeah.
where so the game's just so broken, and it's just broken, and it's probably the worst Madden I've ever played,
Yeah, and
honestly.
it got worse probably around January, I would say. Like, they just keep trying to change things, and you say this every time. They try to change legacy issues mid-cycle, and you can't do that. And it'll never be a truly different experience until they have a dedicated game engine I've said this before. I've shown the articles where this game engine is for a shooter game.
Right.
It's for Call of Duty. It's not for a sports game.
Yeah, I mean they've at this point what Madden I've played the Madden 21 beta. It's like the exact same as Madden 20. It's their
Right.
last one before the PS5 and Xbox,
And that
whatever
first
it's
one
called.
on PS5 and Xbox is going to suck too because it's just
Oh,
going
it's
to be a
gonna
totally
suck.
ported game.
Oh, it's gonna suck. So you're probably looking at another 3 years before having a fresh game. I would imagine. So if you don't like this one, it's probably gonna be more of the same for the foreseeable future.
So
So
one of, and it was kind of funny because people talk about it being how many large political issues and just large life issues that have gone on in the world. And one of the number one trending on Twitter yesterday was fix Madden franchise.
yeah.
I guess I don't know. Is it just because it's going to be the same thing, or did they take franchise out? I'm guessing that they just didn't do anything to it, and that's what people are butthurt about. Is that
Yeah.
the case?
Did you see the patch notes on that or no? Because
I
it
saw
was
a
ridiculous.
video of this one from one of the developers, and it's pretty much like, "Hi guys, we're sorry. Hold on. We hear you. You're very loud. We acknowledge your complaints, and we plan on doing things. I can't address what any of those things are that we have done or that we plan on doing, but we will do things, and we will let you know."
Yeah, it was the worst, the worst. Like, because right when I seen they were grouping it with the face of the franchise or whatever that's called,
Yeah,
that new.
QB1
I was
or
like, oh
whatever.
yeah, this is like a little sketchy because
Hmm.
that means one of them is going to get slided and it's not going to be QB1 or whatever it's
No,
called.
they added
Eh,
stuff to QB1.
Yeah, yeah, that's a box feature, that's
Yeah.
going to be advertised. So then you scroll through the notes and about three-fourths of the way down the page. So a majority of it's the QB1 or whatever. And then you get to the franchise and it literally says like, we added the additional playoff teams. So that's like, to me, that's not even a feature. That's just following, that's NFL rules. That shouldn't be a box feature. And then it said fixed game issue where players were subbing in incorrectly or something. Like it was literally a patch. It wasn't even. It was ridiculous. The most ridiculous. It was literally just a patch that they could have just done, not even put in there. They should have just said they didn't do anything. And I feel like people would have been happier with just honesty.
And then well, I guess a lot of people, it's just not like major things that we want or that the community wants. They want to see like a different scouting abilities, just where you see different type stats when you're scouting players throughout the draft. They want different dynamic contracts. They want to see your OTA drills be brought back in, or at least have the option to do so. So it's not
Yeah,
like they're
it's
asking for something
unfortunate.
completely different.
It's unfortunate because gameplay wise, like they added the stupid superstar abilities.
Yeah.
'Cause in a perfect world, they fix the gameplay first, like fun. And this is where they're all wrong in the whole situation. It's like a built, starting a business and you're worrying about the logo before getting the fundamentals down first. Like fundamentally, they should have fixed how the game works. Whether it's 1 year how the trenches work, then how the defensive coverage worked, then how the quarterback does, however they do it. But none of that was fixed. They just immediately went to abilities because that would sell tickets or that would sell copies of the game. So that's an issue. And then, but that the whole point of that was to say, franchise mode. It's not like you're limited to what you can add. Like there's so many things they could add. There's a plethora of things. Whether that's an injury system, guys wear
Right.
down throughout the season, a home field advantage that's dynamic, meaning if you're good, there's more of a crowd influence to
Right.
the game. If you suck,
More
there's no
false
crowd
starts
influence.
or whatever
Yeah,
because your
offensive
attendance
coordinator,
is more.
defensive coordinators, to where if you have a good defensive coordinator, your defense plays better. Yeah, maybe a play art that's shown, and the list goes on forever. And it's just unfortunate that there's things they can add that they don't, and that's what just makes it
It
bad.
just comes down to the microtransactions, though. The abilities is to make the good players feel good. Well,
Yeah,
like you said, a lot of that's just because the fundamental gameplay sucks, and they couldn't make the superstar players stick out.
yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
they added that little band-aid maneuver, and really all that does is cater to the MUT guys because you're able to pick pretty much. I think you can cherry pick what abilities you have when you go to MUT. Like you're able to group different abilities together, and that's
Totally.
all for MUT.
Yeah,
The,
yeah, that's crazy.
the only other thing that it works out for, and I'll admit, is Superstar KO. That's
Hmm.
not bad
That's
for,
fun.
for the arcade game mode or stuff like that. But
Yeah,
it has no place in franchise mode, and I guess that's
yeah.
a league's decision. But if I was running this, we wouldn't have the abilities.
if they made the abilities tunable to where, because they've obviously the game they can't run it to where superstars feel like superstars. So if
Mm.
abilities were tunable or adjustable, then I feel like that would be something you could work with. Because certain abilities in
And you can
certain
throw them out.
cases, yeah, and just throw them out. Like if you make a
Joystick.
selector, yeah, there's like 90% of them would be thrown out, and then make
Mm.
them rare. And but the case where everybody gets an ability basically, and it's like Oprah Winfrey handing them out, and they're
Yeah.
all amazing
You
abilities.
get
That's the
mossed.
issue with it. Yeah,
Like the
that's
most
the issue.
OP abilities, and pretty much anyone can get them if they spam those players enough.
Yeah, I think that abilities aren't bad. It's just how they conduct it. Of course, since EA, since it's a box feature, then they're just gonna freaking oversell it. So
Yeah.
that's EA. So.
I don't disagree with that. So we'll see. We got one more season left. What do you think that you have a legit chance at the Super Bowl at this point? I mean, your team's pretty good. You've got the pass rush. You've got the corners. Your offense. Do you still have Andrew Luck, or did he hang him up?
He's still there. He's like 78 overall now. I'm gonna write it out with him. I figured.
Really?
Um, yeah, yeah. Probably could have found a better quarterback, but last year using him, might as well have some fun with it. Um, yeah. Hey, I always got a chance. I just last 3 seasons it was like AFC Championship, Super Bowl, AFC Championship. So it's not like I'm slipping in terms of where I'm at. I just the ball bounced the wrong way in one of the games, and
Mm-hmm.
this one I just took one on the chin, but I'm always right there. So
Where's that put you in Madden 21? I know you're putting out the illusion that you're not going to pick the Colts, but you've been the most dedicated Colts fan since you were a small child, through every tough loss. When Peyton Manning went to the Broncos, I was a Broncos fan first, and if the Broncos weren't playing the Colts, I was a Colts fan too, just because, in my opinion, they did Peyton dirty, and Peyton should have retired a Colt. And you were all behind Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was the second coming. He was going to be this great quarterback, and then he was exposed in that. I think it was the first time they played the Patriots in the playoffs, and he absolutely got smoked. The whole next season, he got smoked.
blitzing up the middle and
Ryan
beating his
Grigson
body.
says, "Well, we're confident in the offensive line. We have good players here. We're confident in the players we have." And I'm pretty sure that's the year he had the ruptured kidney or whatever. I'm like, we probably should have been confident in the players that you guys put behind him. But
It's like EA. They shouldn't have said anything. Like
no,
it's just one of those cases where you just don't say it.
that's
Just to,
twice Ursay's done that shit though, just to keep tickets though. Well, we're pretty confident that Peyton will be back. We love Peyton. It's a minor surgery. He'll be back. Well, they kind of fucked the surgery up. We're
yeah,
shooting for like a week 8. We're shooting for a week 16, maybe a red zone
yeah,
package for Peyton. Peyton's not coming back.
yeah. No, that
Andrew,
would have
we
been
love
cool, by the
Andrew.
way.
Okay, Andrew's definitely gonna play this year. Well, shit. Adam Schefter found out Andrew's retiring, so sorry,
Yeah,
Colts fans. Maybe we're
yeah.
with Philip
I
Rivers.
I still stick with my theory that Andrew Luck has some sort of like mental depression or something going on there.
CTE.
It could be, man. It's a little Antonio Brown case. He seems kind of weird. They both seem kind of weird, but
He's been
that's a whole
rocked too
nother
many
story.
times though. Like it's just
Yeah,
like he said, it's just depression, pain, whatever, rehab, repeat, and it
yeah.
just wasn't worth it to him
He
anymore.
like if you ever go back through old Colts interviews, he always talks about being in like a dark place and stuff.
Hmm.
I mean, and that's a lot of stress to be a football quarterback,
Especially
and
to supplant Peyton Manning,
yeah, and
and
that was
Peyton's
just a
still playing and had another fantastic season while you're playing. So it's like, well, fuck, Peyton Manning threw 55 touchdowns, and then as a Colts fan, it's like, well, if Andrew Luck's the second coming, where's his 55 touchdown season? And never
I don't even know if it's
ascended
that
that greatness.
because I don't think Peyton would have done the same thing in Indianapolis with the line they had, and that would have been a very. It was best for Peyton's career to move on to Denver because it would have been sad to see him go through what
The
Andrew went
difference,
through.
though, was Bill Polian was still there until Peyton left. And that's when they cleaned house. They went ahead and said, you know what, fuck it. We didn't have a backup plan, which, of course, Bill Polian says was his fault anyway. But realistically, it would have been nice to have an Aaron Rodgers type deal where you draft Andrew Luck, let him sit behind 2 or 3 years behind Peyton Manning, maybe win one with the Gipper. Between those 3 years, he walks away, and then Andrew Luck takes over after being able. And then he would actually have the whole Peyton Manning offense installed. He would have been actually calling plays, calling protections, learning outside the game, watching film, preparation, all that stuff that he didn't get to learn. He just had to be the guy and had his fucking shit rocked. He played the Bruce Arians 7-9 step drop offense and just absolutely had his body annihilated.
Yeah,
But
and I think the thing that and McAfee said in one of his podcasts, because obviously he could play in just about any offense. He played in the
mm,
Arians thing, got rocked, had a very good rookie year. He played in Pep Hamilton's offense with a bad offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Did well. Made the AFC Championship with a terrible team. Um, and then
Made the
with
playoffs with Grigson.
they made the playoffs with Grigson. Did well with Frank Reich's offense. It was just the
Or Frank Reich, my bad.
yeah. Uh, it was more of I wish he would have had somebody tell him like you could step up to the front office and tell him like, hey, like this ain't right. This is the way you're treating me with this offensive line.
That's
Like
what you
this
would have
can't
with
happen.
Peyton, though.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at. Like if he had that, but other than that, I really don't believe it's really just humanly possible for them to coexist and Peyton to have a team around them because they were just getting old at that point.
You'll never
Uh,
know. We never
you'll
had
never
the
know.
opportunity to see it. But
Yeah.
we're at 30 minutes. It's probably time to
Jesus
cut this
Christ.
thing short. So
Yeah, no one's gonna listen.
no
to
one
this,
listened to the last couple minutes. We apologize for Colts fans that we are just reminisce. But hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Good luck on your last season. I may be able to stick through it. I don't know. I think this is causing me stress because I'm the biggest sore loser there is. I don't like losing. That's why you don't see the podcast. I'm not passionate about Madden. I don't feel good about Madden. I hate playing the game right now. It's like there's games that's literally just fall apart when I've not thrown interceptions. My interception numbers were really low, relatively low, and I've still lost a bunch of games. Like I can't run the ball. I don't have a superstar running back. I do the same type of runs that anyone else does, except I don't have the X Factor running back. But anyway, good luck to everyone. Hopefully we could see a different champion. It's always nice to have a new guy get crowned. Maybe the Texans will get up in there, or Raider fan and rush for 4,000 yards and take the crown. You never know. And let's get the hashtag going. Hashtag no abilities for the final season. Let's get it going. If you guys don't want to see abilities, let Prime know. We want to see this game. We want to see the SML landscape change. Let's get rid of the abilities. Let's bring fun back to the SML. No more abilities for Madden 20. We'll send this bitch off with a bang. Also, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to set it up. We're going to do an end of season or end of cycle tourney with some type of prize. I know Raider could probably use a nice SML mug or maybe a PlayStation remote, something like that. Let me know what you guys think about that. Anyway, if you're watching for the first time, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Let us know what you guys want to see. If you're trying to find a Madden League, join us at MaddenLeague.com. We have the primer. There's probably a spot or two open in there, I'm assuming. Just check us out on Twitter. Let us know. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
See you guys.